Hey everyone, my name's Alexandra and I am a watercolor artist. This is part 4 of my Cozy Christmas Cards in Under 10 Minutes series. For today's video, which is the last Christmas card video, we are going to paint some super cute Christmas stockings. Let's get started. For today's tutorial, I am using 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. I have 2 cups of water, one for clean water, one for dirty water, a napkin for drying my paintbrushes. I'm using 2 different size paintbrushes. I have Opus Allegro number 6 and Opus Allegro 0. I'm using Art Philosophy and Co.'s watercolor palettes. I have a combination of their Woodlands palette and their Terrain palette. But we're painting stockings, so you guys can choose whatever fun colors you like for this tutorial. And lastly, you will need some sort of fine liner pen. I'm using Micron 01, and here I have a dark brown color, but brown or black would work fine. So to get started with our tutorial, I had very lightly drawn out my stockings just so I could see where I'm painting them. If you guys want to go ahead and do that, otherwise you're also welcome to just jump straight into the painting. We are going to start with outlining it. This will make it so much easier as we're actually doing our painting. So I'm going to start with the loops on the stockings. So I drew, which if you guys are not drawing anything with your pencil, the only thing I'd suggest to draw across is a line on your paper. So I am drawing the loops and I'm just gonna leave a little gap where that line would come through. So now we're gonna draw the string that's hanging, and you'll notice that I am continuing the line through that little gap that I left in the loop of the stockings. And then all the way to the end. And now with my loops, I'm just gonna make them a little bit three-dimensional. So it just helps for me to leave that little gap just for the purpose of adding the dimension to them. So now we're gonna do an outline of our actual stocking shapes. The nice thing is we essentially just have socks that are hanging, so you guys can draw them skinny, you can draw them bigger, smaller, wider, longer, however you want. So the nice thing with this one about drawing it first is that we can kind of paint a design into them. So now that I have my 3 very wonky looking stocking shapes, we're gonna go ahead and start painting them in. So for my first one, I want to give it just a bit of a base color. So I'm gonna paint mine with sort of a beigey tone, and I'm just gonna fill in the entire stocking. And then for the one on the left, I'm gonna go with sort of a pink undertone. So you guys don't have to paint anything underneath. I just find that it looks really nice when you add layers on top if it's not always straight onto a white background. And then for the one on the right, I'm gonna do a super pale blue tone. It's really subtle. And with each of these that I'm painting, I'm just adding a little bit of color where I had that gap line at the top. Now, while I let those dry, I'm gonna take my super skinny paintbrush and I'm just gonna paint over the line of the string that I have at the top here. So going over what I drew, just gonna go all the way across. Okay, perfect. So we will get started with the center stocking. And this one I'm gonna kind of keep it with those warm tones. I'm gonna start with a burgundy-ish brown color. And I'm gonna do a nice thin line across the top. I'm gonna do one partway down, and then I'm just gonna do really skinny lines going all the way down just to act like the ribbing on the stocking. And then for this one, if I wanted, I could give it a bit of a heel and just paint that in with the same color to match. And then I am gonna stay consistent, use the same color, and I could paint in the toe. All right, so now I'm gonna follow the exact same concept with my other two. So I'm gonna go with a bit of a navy color for the one that is on the very right-hand side. And just following the same concept where I'll start with the top part of the sock or stocking. And then we'll add the heel and the toe. And then exact same thing with the one on the other side, but this time I think I'm gonna take of a foresty green color. I'm just mixing some of my green and some of my brown together for this one. Okay, so line across the top, line partway down, and then we have our thin lines all the way up. I'm gonna add toe, more paint there, and the heel. Okay, so now we're gonna continue. I'm gonna take a little bit of a brighter color for this middle sock, and I'm gonna do some stripes going across. So I'm taking the same color, it's just a little bit darker. And I'll do some that are a little farther apart, a little closer together, all the way across. And we're gonna go across the bottom as well, sort of staggering them. And now with my stripes that I have, I'm just gonna add some little dots right above. So we'll do sort of the same thing spread throughout. I do a lot of hiking, so I find that I'm often buying myself different socks and things for hiking, and I love the sort of Scandinavian or the more Nordic designs where the knitting is just so much more detailed and intricate, so you'll find that you have a lot of ones with stripes and zigzags and little like stars and cool shapes. So that's something that I like to do with my stockings. All right, so now I'm gonna go into my blue one, and we're gonna follow a very similar concept, but just to make them still a little bit different from each other, I'm gonna do a really wide stripe and then a skinnier one. So we'll do the same thing below, wide and skinny. And then for this one, so that we can mix it up a little bit, instead of the dots, we're gonna do a super simple zigzag right above two of our wide stripes there. For our last one, We're gonna continue with the exact same concept. So I'm gonna do stripes across. This one I'll do uniform stripes that are a little bit wider. And we're almost out of time here for our 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna speed through the end here. So wider, and then instead of zigzags, I'm gonna do a wavy line in between each of them. So nice wave. We are all done with painting our Christmas stockings. I hope that you guys followed along. If you did, make sure to take a picture of it, send it to me on Instagram at Alexandra Victoria Studio. It's been so awesome to see what you guys have been painting for your cozy Christmas cards this Christmas season, so please do share. Also, if you are not subscribed to this channel already, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any more content that's coming out. Please like this video and comment below if there's anything else Christmassy that you'd like to learn or anything wintry that you want to learn in the new year. We'll see you next time.